welcome to another video. So I'm doing like I said I would, and I am making a art journal spread using prompt cards to guide me. So I'm showing you the old set. I made that many years ago, and I just painted it on, like, I used cereal like box card and made it all pretty. I stamped the prompts on and then I laminated it to keep it safe. And this set is from a mixed media subscription box. I will link those down below, or actually I'll link the playlist to all the videos where like I created stuff using the mixed media boxes. There are still a few left on my store, so I'll probably link that below, but yeah, I'll link the playlist. So I decided to use both just to see what would happen. I ended up getting a couple duplicates, but that was cool. And like the set that I'm showing you now is a lot more refined than my original set. And if you would like me to make prompt cards, my mixed media mediums that I make available on my shop, please do let me know down below in the comments, because I will happily make that available. So the first card I pulled was to use water soluble mediums. So I decided to use some watercolor pencils. I very rarely use them, and that's the nice thing about prompt cards. It does remind you about stuff you rarely use or haven't used in ages. So this is by Derwent. All materials will be listed down below so you know what I used. And I can't remember the exact colors because I did this a little while ago, but I basically used like some blues, greens, a little bit of browns, and maybe some yellows. I just put it down lightly. When I first start off, I like to do things quite lightly if I have the chance to, just to like so yes, I established a background, but I'm nothing too particular just yet, and I'm just blending that out with some water and a paintbrush. And if you would like to see this video in real time with real-time commentary, you can become a patron just from $3 a month to get early access to my Friday YouTube videos that are in real time. So back to the page. I was just like showing how you can draw in on like a wet surface. I'm not like very well versed in watercolor pencils, so I was just playing around. So the next prompt was stamping tool, and I just pulled out like the toolbox that has all my wooden stamps, or like rubber stamps really, should I say, and I'm using a Molotow watercolor marker to just like ink the stamp. I didn't feel like pulling out my stamp pads. I was kind of feeling lazy that day, so I just used that, stamped that a few times. I didn't wet it or anything, I just went straight on. And I'm just showing you like how, since it is a water soluble marker, that I was able to blend it out, but I didn't want to blend it out too much just because I wanted to see the pattern. So the next one was use white paint, gesso, or pen. So anything like white, I decided to use white paint just to like put down a kind of light layer in the middle, maybe blend out some areas. Like I didn't like how I put down the brown pencil, so I just blended those out, and I just very lightly because you couldn't barely see that I was using white paint. So this one is apply texture paste. Now I have quite a few different kinds of texture paste. I have texture paste, which is like modeling paste. I have sequin gel, like, and glass bead gel, which I made myself. Those are, whenever you see like little pots with like a red lid, that's from previous subscription boxes. So I decided to use the Sequin infused gel, and it's like multicolored heart sequins. I thought that would have been cute for like the theme of the box. Yeah, from the theme of the box that I was in. So I'm using a palette knife, just a small one, to apply it, and I'm putting that to the corners because that takes a really long time to dry, and I didn't want to have to wait for it to dry, and I can't really use the heat gun because that's plastic. So I just decided to put it in the corners, just kind of like frame the page a little bit, and then I can get on and do other things while that's drying. And it didn't, by the time I was finished, it almost dried, but yeah, it took a while to dry. I worked quite a while on this, so yeah. So this one is use like washi tape, fabric tape, or masking tape. I chose masking tape. I haven't done that in a while, use masking tape on my art, and I tore it up. I quite like that texture of torn masking tape, so I decided to use that technique. And I just put it like around the edges. I like to leave the middle kind of clear if I want to put like a focal image or something. So this one is use tools like a sponge or palette knife, credit card, anything or your fingers, anything but a paintbrush to apply paint. So I decided to use my fingers. I like to get messy when I'm doing mixed media stuff, especially stuff like this. I haven't really done much mixed media recently. I seem to be only sticking to like acrylics or watercolors at the moment. So it was nice to get messy again like I used to do. Yeah, so it's interesting to see like how I go through phases. So at the moment I'm not doing lots of mixed media or really heavy mixed media pieces. But yeah, but every now and again it's nice to get messy. So I used a purple as well as a pink. Of course, like the brands and stuff I use will be down below. And I thought I would put some pink dots just in case maybe like I got the chance to doodle or something and I can maybe put in some flowers. So when I'm doing stuff with prompt cards, I do like to kind of think what might I get ahead, like in the future. So I will do things that kind of leaves it open-ended so I can add to it later on. So now I'm getting used modeling paste, which is like the same prompt as used texture paste. So I did get duplicates. And back then I only did have modeling paste. So my old prompt cards were very much to what I had in the studio at the time. So I decided to use some modeling paste. I had like these like coarse sandy kind of bits in it. So I used that, and again I applied that to the corners of the page, like where the sequin gel was, so that it wouldn't get in my way when I was like doing other things, because modeling paste I find takes quite a while to dry, unlike texture paste, which is what I make myself. So I decided to put that in areas where it wouldn't like get in my way, and again I use a palette knife to apply that. So now this one is like add paper elements. That could be tags, book paper, envelopes, ephemera, like anything like that. So I decided to use some book paper. This book paper, it's not in English. I'm not too sure what language it is in. I like to use ones without like that's not in English. English is sometimes fun because like you can like pick out words, but stuff that's not in English, I find that's cool too. So I'm cutting out some circles just using a scissors. I'm not being exact, as you can see, and I thought since I was kind of leaving things open-ended to maybe like have flowers or something, I would cut out circles and then maybe I could turn those into flowers too. And I'm using some tacky glue, some Aleene's tacky glue I believe, to stick down the book paper. And I only put like a blob in the middle, so like maybe like the edges could like kind of stand up a little bit just to add some texture. I do like to add texture in my pieces, so that's what I did. Now this one is use black paint, gesso or pen. So I thought this was perfect to do some doodling, but like with black paint. So I picked out some black paint and I grabbed my rigger brush, like that thin liner brush I like to use. And I thought I would doodle in some flowers. Now, this is where I was kind of risking it because I was doodling like around the pink dots, but I didn't really want to have like all kind of black flowers. So I decided to leave the book paper and just hope that I got something that I would be able to add more flowers. So yeah, sometimes you can kind of risk it. I like to sometimes when I'm using prompt cards. And yeah, so that's what I did with the pink ones. I just went around them, like outlined them and then added like, it was very abstract flowers, just adding like abstract petals. And I did go in and like add some like inner circles as well within like the pink dot. And yeah, so I was also making it look as if maybe like the book paper was kind of like over the flowers, so I didn't go over like the book paper if it was close by. So you see, first I like added dots, but I didn't like that, so I decided to add like an inner circle. And the black paint was perfect because then I was able to like ground some areas of the page. So I also went in and added like a bit of a black border with the paintbrush, not very thick, just in a few areas, just to kind of ground it. Yeah, so black does help to ground. I don't know if I've said that in any of my recent videos, but black helps to ground, and then of course white adds the highlights. So it's always good to add a dark color. Most importantly, it doesn't have to be black as long as you add a dark color. And I also added some splashes as well, just water down the paint and splash my brush around just to kind of fill in some of the like white space. But I was still leaving the middle pretty clear, as you can see. So there's a quick close-up so you can see like what's going on. And now let's see what's next. I can't remember. I think, apply chalk primer. Yes, that's it. So with this one, I was glad that I hadn't used chalk primer earlier on when I got that same prompt in the old prompt cards. So now I'm going to use that to add some highlights to the black and pink flowers. And again, I'm using my rigger brush, that's by Rowney, to do that. And I'm also adding like some white petals. You can't always see it, but when it was over like the purple, you could. And that just added a really nice chalky texture as well. As you can see, that's also one of the mediums I like to make myself. And yeah, so that just helped to brighten things up a little bit as well, because like everything was looking kind of dark after I added the black, especially the flowers. So that helped to brighten up like those corners. And I also added some splashes as well. I just thought since I started with splashes, I might as well continue. So this was use like brushes, fingers, paint brushes, like, you know, different like tools to add paint. And since I was allowed to use paint brushes, I thought I would add like some blue accents around using my fingers just to kind of brush along like the sequins and the modeling paste. And then I would go around the book paper with my liner brush, or rigger brush, sorry, to add some different kind of flowers. So with this one, I thought I would add, I think it was dots as the petals. I'll have to see. I can't remember now. And the journal isn't close by. Let's see. Oh yes, I did add dots around these just to make them look a bit different from the black and pink ones, and I also added like an inner circle as well. I think I also splashed the paint. And yeah, so this is where things were coming together. I still wasn't sure what was going to happen in the middle. I didn't want to add a quote. I wasn't feeling a quote, so you'll see what I do later on. And yeah, so I was just basically adding doodles with the paint. And I was also going over like the black and pink flowers as well, just to show that like the book paper flowers were in the foreground. And I'm going to add some splashes, and things still were looking a bit dull, and I thought I would like maybe bring out some of the colors that are in the sequins. I kind of used the ones that were in the sequins, but I hadn't used any yellow or green, so I thought I would use yellow. And I went around and added that with my fingers, and because my fingers weren't clean from when I used the blue paint, it did kind of mix and add some green spots as well, so I liked that. And I also splashed some yellow too, just to kind of like spread that around the page, and I was really liking it here. So this prompt card was sketch or doodle. So I left the page to dry. I made sure it was really dry so I could go in with some pens. And I thought like I could like add some details like around the flowers, and like doodle in some like bees or butterflies or something. Since there was flowers on the page, I thought I would kind of go with that theme. So I decided to do bees, and I'm going to use my Unipin fine liners as well as my Unibal Signo for highlights, and also to doodle over like the darker areas of the page. And you really want to make sure that your page is dry before you use your fine liners. I've made that mistake before and ruined my fine liners, so just make sure it's nice and dry. You can hit it with the heat gun, leave it in front, leave it maybe like close to the radiator or something like that. Just make sure it's nice and bone dry before you go in. So I just kind of like outlined the flowers, added some like doodled areas within the flowers. I forgot that like the Seawhite brand of paint, which is what I use for like the black, is really slippery, so I did struggle to like doodle over that, especially with like the white gel pen, but I kind of made do. You can see that my struggle a little bit. I was able to go around like the pink areas, but the black areas not so much, but I just pushed through, and wherever the pen stuck I was just happy with that, and moved on. It was just a journal spread, so it didn't have to be anything special. Yeah, so I was really enjoyed this bit. I really got carried away. It ended up a little bit busy, but now that I look at it, I really do like it. And my mom and like one of my mom's friends said that it looked like a really nice pattern. Like my mom's friend said that it could be like a really nice fabric pattern, and my mom said that it could be like a nice wrapping paper. So, and it is like it is very pattern like, so I guess that I ended up doing that by accident. So you can see I kind of doodle like a white flower, and the nice thing about the gel pen is if you don't wait too long, you could just wipe it away with your finger, so I did. Yeah, so I thought that was quite cool that it looked like it could be like a pattern. Maybe I could look into doing stuff like that in the future, making like digital fabric patterns or something. So at the moment I'm just like kind of outlining different elements of the page that I want to stand out, like the flowers, the hearts, some of the stamped images from earlier. And because the sequins were like completely dry, I could doodle over them. They're very slippery. Now, thankfully, the Unipins are like permanent, but they're very slippery, so they didn't stick all the way, especially for the gel pen. But I was just like, wherever the highlights in the pen stuck, I was cool with that. And you do want to be careful as well when you're working around like textured areas, not to go over certain areas. So I was very careful when I was going around the sequins. I went on top of the sequins and not around them, because that would have ruined the nib. And I didn't doodle near or on the modeling paste, because that would ruin your pen. So yeah, it's just certain things you have to keep in mind, especially when it's like fine liners. Bullet nibs or like a calligraphy pen, you don't have to be as gentle, but since I wanted to add like delicate details, I had to be very careful with my fine liners. So yeah, that's pretty much what happened with this page. I think I was thinking of adding gold. Did I? Oh yes, I did also go in with a gold like glittery gel pen. That's just like your bog standard gel pen. It doesn't even have a brand on it. I've had those gel pens for years. I have no idea how they're not dried up yet. When I added like the bees, and I also go in and add some hearts as well, because I didn't want it to get too busy with bees. I felt as if it was kind of missing something. Like I added black hearts, I added some like kind of more like lined hearts, because some hearts were full, some were just like the outlines. I also added some white hearts on like the purple areas. So I thought I would go in and add like some glittery gold hearts, because that also helped to brighten up the page. So you'll see that in a little bit. I thought I would just update you guys and say that I am still working on my smudge bowls. I hit a bit of a snag, and I've also been struggling with juggling everything that like I'm supposed to be doing, like videos and stuff like that, and finding time for everything. Like I've started to do like daily studies, so like an hour or two. I really should keep it down to an hour, so I'll work on that. Of doing just a study of like, I'm using gouache at the moment in my sketchbook. This Sunday coming, I will post like my weekly daily studies on Patreon. I post it daily, so like patrons get like a sneak peek. So yeah, so I'm just struggling with like juggling everything, so I'm having to like kind of look over what I need to change. And yes, so I will get to the smudge bowls. I have like a new plan already. I already know what I'm going to be changing. So next week I will see how that works, and hopefully I would have given myself enough time to get everything done. So I'm doing the bees now. At first I was giving them stripes, and that's very much like how a child does bees, and I just didn't like it. It just looked so childish, and like for anything else I probably would have just left it, but for this I just wasn't feeling it. So I decided to just fill it in with my fine liners, and it also helped them to stand out more. So yeah, I went with that, and I like that a lot better. I can't remember the specific ones I used, like what size liners I used. I think I used like the thicker ones, like the 6 and the 7s, or like the 8, maybe the 5, but I will put that down below in the materials list, so that you guys know like which ones I used. Yeah, so I fill that in, so giving them like more like a silhouette look helped them to pop out a lot more, and I'm sure you guys can see that. So sometimes if you're struggling to make things pop, either lighten the background, and if you don't want to do that, maybe just put them down as like a silhouette, and then that will pop a lot more than like line work. Yeah, so that's basically what's been going on. Just struggling to juggle everything. Yeah, so I'm just having to adjust some things, and hopefully by next week things will be a little bit more smoothed out. I guess I'll let you guys know in the next week video. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Oh, and the of course the needle felted brooches are still available, and that is always linked down below, so don't forget to check those out if you're interested. And I will make sure to link down the mixed media subscription boxes and attach that playlist. Okay, so I'm adding the hearts. One thing I do want to mention is when you're doodling, you don't want everything to look the same. So I switched around the directions of the hearts as well as the bees. I had them flying from different directions, just like from the flowers, but like flying in different directions, like upside down, right way up. And the hearts, I switched, like some of them were pointing up, some of them were upside down, some of them were sideways, and every now and again I turned the page so that I would draw them in different directions, just to kind of vary things. And I'm going to add some highlights to the bees so that they stick out a little bit more, just to give them a bit more interest. I also added the white hearts in different directions, and then I'll go in and do that with the gold gel pen. So let me know what you guys have been up to. Like, are you following along with these videos? Are you using these as inspiration? If you want to follow along with the prompts, please do. And if you do, share your creations. You can share them on my Facebook group, or you can tag me on Facebook and Instagram. Please do, because I would love to see your guys' creations. Yeah, and if you do watch any of my videos and you are inspired by something and you share, please do tag me, because I would love to see what you guys are doing. And please do comment below, like, what you think of the journal spread and what you guys have been up to. Like, are you doing any daily art challenges? Are you doing daily studies? Like, what are you guys getting up to? Let me know. I would love to find out. So that's pretty much it. I'm adding all my gold glittery details with my gel pen, the hearts, and I also added some like glittery details to the sequins and the flowers as well, just to kind of bring things together. When you're adding a new element, you do want to put it around the page so it doesn't just stand out and look as if it was like a last minute thought. Yeah, that's the trick of things. Don't make things look as if they were last minute thoughts. Make it look as if you thought it through. So thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please don't forget to like the video, subscribe, click that notification bell. If you're new, welcome to the channel. If you've been around for a while, thank you for sticking around, and let me know what you guys think in the comments below. So thanks again for watching, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.